Okay. Hi everybody, welcome to Harrogate Lockdown Fest. Today I'm going to show you how to, my name is Melanie Munich, and today I'm going to show you how to make a simple hand-tied bouquet. All funds from this are going towards Harrogate Hospital and Community Charity, so please give generously. So, I often get asked by friends what to do when they have a packet of not so attractive chrysanthemums from the garage or the supermarket. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at how we can transform these flowers with some simple foliage into a simple hand-tied design. So first of all, let's get rid of that. You need to condition, what we call condition your flowers. So take off any leaves that we don't want. You can use a floristry knife or a pair of scissors to do this, to strip the stem down. With roses, I would use the scissors to take away the thorns, but with the softer stems, you can just pull away the foliage there. So you want to make sure that your flowers are the stem is completely clean so that it's ready to go into your bouquet. So you can also, if you've got any smaller ones, take them off the side and put them to one side to put into a smaller bunch of flowers. If any break, like this one, I would say, yeah, you don't want to use a flower that's got a broken stem, so we'll discard that. So what I've got here is some different types of foliage from my garden because the flower markets are in lockdown, of course, closed. So I've got some fern, I've got some tree ivy, which is actually, you'll see this growing in most places, it's got some beautiful little berries on. And I've got some climbing hydrangea. So again, I'm just going to condition this hydrangea. And where I've got a double stem, I'm going to take that off so that I create two pieces for my foliage. And the same with this one. We don't want any leaves on the stem, so it all needs to be completely cleaned off. Probably right up to where the flowering part is. Okay, so we're going to start with our foliage. And we're going to build a little bit of a structure to start adding our flowers into. So our focal flower, my focal flower today is actually a stalk. So I'm going to start with my focal flower. Now I don't know if you can see, but I'm crossing my stems. So either left to right or right to left. And that's how you get the beautiful spiral effect in a bouquet that makes all the difference. So I'm just going to start to add some different foliage in. Really whatever you've got, it doesn't matter, whatever you've got in the garden. And I don't know if you can see the stems there. Use your foliage as well to support your flowers. So think about your colours. What looks nice together, and keep your hand quite loose so you're effectively creating a vase in your hand. So you don't want to be quite too tight with that because you'll break your stems. So this is quite a challenge with no real flowers from the market. If you find that something's too low, you can just pull that up. Now I'm going to start to add in some of my fillers, so some of the chrysanth here, and I'm all the time looking and pulling up my focal flowers. So let's use some of this tree ivy. Okay, so if your stems aren't quite, with that one, my stem's not quite straight, but it's coming at an angle. But I'm just going to leave that fanning out and fill it in with flowers. So here, I'm going to take off some of these extra little ones that we don't need. And I'm going to use that as a filler there. Again, pulling up. Let's add some of these, purple ones. So I tend to hold the bouquet and look at it from a focal point to see what I think the shape looks like and what I need to change. Think about your textures as well, and if you've got any pieces where you've got sort of a V, if you like, you can use those to come in between your flowers as well, like so. So don't be afraid to sort of pull your flowers gently to get the effect that you want. Let's have a look. Put some more of these lovely berries in. I think I've got mine wrapped in the microphone. Right. So I'm just twisting the bouquet in my hands as I work, and I'm looking at the colours, and I'm also looking at how it looks to me visually. So I'm wanting a paler one here. So I don't know if you can see, but naturally if you just go left to right and right to left, your stems will start to spiral. Some more filler. Once you've done it a couple of times, you'll get a feel for how it feels in your hand and how loose or how hard you can work it. So you can also push if you need to, you can actually push things down and they'll feed into your hand just to fill out like that. So whoops, I'm getting tangled in my microphone. There we go. It's actually quite difficult to do this with a microphone while you're going over your flowers. Okay, so here I've got a gerbera. Now normally I'd wire that, but at the moment because it's quite soft stemmed, I'm just going to push that through so it becomes a bit of a focal point. So again, if you're holding your bouquet quite loosely, you should be able to just push that down into your flowers. I'm going to use some of these as a bit of a collar. I don't know if you can see. So I'm going to create a bit of a collar effect now. I don't want a huge bouquet here, so I'm just going to, again, crossing these over, add these around the outside of my bouquet. If you've got any leaves that are coming down here or any buds, just take those off as you go, because you don't want them to be in your tying point at the end. So just pull any loose foliage, take it away. And obviously once it's in the vase, that's what's going to go mouldy and rot, and your flowers won't last as long. Whoops. Okay. So I need some more of that here. Get used to moving some of your flowers around. And one more on this side. So have a look at your bouquet, see what you think. Mine's actually quite bushy on this side, so I'm going to put a bit more foliage over on this side. Now what you want to do is, I've got some slightly shorter foliage and I've got some of my fern left, and I'm going to create a little bit of a collar. And the collar's also useful to support some of the flowers. I'm just going to go round and place that. Very rustic-y. This is a rustic, I do need to stress, this is a rustic bouquet. It's not something I would make for a bride. I would obviously take a lot more time and care. It's really just to show you what you can do with a supermarket bouquet and some foliage from your garden. Right, Right, okay, so I've got a bit of a gap here. If you hold that to the camera. So I've got a bit of a gap going on here where I'm going to add my last stock in. Let's see if it will go there. Okay. What am I going to finish that off with? One more little piece of foliage. Right, I can't actually hold any more in my hand. Let's just play around with that. Oh, that's the wrong piece. So have a play around. If you can't, you know, if it doesn't look right or you're not happy, then choose another piece. Right, so to tie that off, I'm actually going to use some tape. You could use sellotape, you could use an elastic band, you could use absolutely anything. So I'm just going to go round, get my tape the other way, whoops, with my floristry tape. But as I say, that could be twine, string, whatever you've got to hand really. I just like tape. A lot of florists at the moment are using sticky back double-sided plastic so they can put the ribbon on quite easily. So I like to just get it quite, you don't want it loose, but you don't want to obviously break your stems, so you need it quite secure. Okay, so let's cut that off. I'm just going to lie these down while I cut this off. Okay, so what you want to do now is you want to put your hands and come down 2 hands, probably I use about 2.5 hands, and start to cut then your stems at the bottom of 2 hands. So particularly if you're making something for a bride to hold, you want to have so that, you know, there's something to hold on to, but also you don't want the stems too short so that they look nice in a vase. So just take your secateurs, oops, and start to cut the stems. I need to move my microphone because I can't cut and use the microphone at the same time. Right, I need to use my other hand. Sorry, I'm just swapping that over. That's better. I'm actually right-handed, but I am ambidextrous because I use scissors with my left hand. Just moving it around to cut as much of this stem off as possible. Now what you can do is if you want to take out some of the thicker stems in the middle, you can do that as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to lie my bouquet down, and I'm going to put some burlap on and just make it a bit of a rusticy look. So any ribbon you've got basically you can use. So I'm going to just cut a piece off. Like so. And I'm just going to wrap that round. I don't know if the camera's seeing that, but if not, I will show you in a minute. And make that my tying point. I personally don't particularly like fancy bows on it, so I'm just going to cut that burlap off at an angle. Okay, so there you have it, one very simple yet rustic bouquet. Supermarket bunch of flowers with some foliage from your garden and whatever you have hanging around. Okay, thanks very much, and don't forget to donate. Bye bye.